Hey guys, welcome to Wisdom and Wealth. I wanted to start developing some episodes that really spoke to problems that us as entrepreneurs face. And I wanted to start off with this first episode. This should be 20 to 30 minutes long, but I wanted to start off with something that was close to my heart. The people that we want to serve the most are the ones that love their families the most, the ones that are crazy after them and they love them like crazy. They're on fire for the business, but on fire for their family. I want that to win just as badly. And so I want to speak to this. So today's title is, or today's talk is titled, Building Wealth Without Losing Your Family. I run into this situation. I've had friends that had this situation, and you kind of hear some telltale signs like, man, maybe I should get in a small group at church. Maybe I should get some help. Or maybe we need to talk. And then a year later goes by and you find out that they're going through a divorce. And I really don't want that. I don't want that for anybody. Now, I'm not lambasting divorce because we can come into some amazing situations. And like, I love my step parents like crazy. And so I'm not talking down to that, but I don't want anybody to go into a failing situation because they're so on fire for their business that their family dies because of it. Okay. And so building wealth without losing your family, because really it's you walking into your house after a long day. And instead of being excited to see your family, you're still stuck at work mode and you're still checking your email, still checking whatever's on your phone, still in conversation, still in deal mode, coming home when your family's excited to see you, but you're not present for them. You probably felt like that if you're an entrepreneur, or you're like a scatterbrain or all over the place like me a little bit. I need structure. I crave structure. I have to have it. Otherwise, I'm all over the place, right? And so you can probably relate, but I want to get into, here is the problem, is entrepreneurs, we build businesses to provide for our families so much, but often the business is what pulls us away. And here's what I don't want is I don't want the guilt of somebody sitting on their deathbed someday for missing out. It's always the sins of omission, not commission in somebody's life that they are regretting. And so I don't want you to regret or have guilt at the end of your life and overcompensate in other ways. Like maybe you've had somebody that felt guilty about your upbringing, maybe a parent or step parent or somebody else that bought you tons of gifts over the years and tried to overcompensate for not being there. Well, I don't want to be that. I want to be the parent that is there with my wife, with my family. And really there's a myth that ends up coming up is always this excuse. I'm doing it for my family, but at what cost? And the myth is this: once I reach X revenue, I'll be able to slow down. Or once I reach X place, I'll be able to slow down. Well, that's not the case typically. And so here's 3 challenges that we're all facing. And I want to give you the how do we fix it here in a moment. But here's 3 challenges that we're all facing with that. It's 1, lack of boundaries between work and home. Okay. And that's staying on your phone, staying on your email, having social media. It is all blowing up at you and you're never actually shutting off from that. It's having business problems that dominate conversations, even in your family. If my wife is listening to this right now, she's rolling her eyes because she gets sick of talking about business sometimes. I get it. It's lack of boundaries. Number 2 is time poverty, right? The trap of more. Entrepreneurs, we feel like we got to work harder than anyone else. Now, part of me respects that because absolutely, there is abundance out there and it's available and the workers are few. And we're the few workers that want to go out and get it. But there's not always about working harder. And then there's always one more deal, one more hire, one more strategy before you arrive at some level and to prove yourself. And so time poverty. Number 3 is last one, the guilt cycle. Business wins equals personal sacrifices. And this is what I said a minute ago. Parents, so many times we can overcompensate with gifts, vacations, or saying yes to everything just to make us feel better about spending too much time away from the family. So lack of boundaries, time poverty, and the guilt cycle are main challenges that we face. So I want to jump into this. How do we fix those? How do we do that at all? Well, number 1 is we got to articulate what success actually means to you. And if you're like us, I want to succeed in my family. A big barometer for me on engaging a man or somebody, any person is what does their spouse look at them like? Like, does your spouse detest you coming home, which is a pretty horrible place, or do they love it? Do they they wrap their arms around you and give you kisses and hugs and all those good things? Do your kids greet you and get excited when you show up at the house? Those are great barometers of success for me and the people that we want to serve in our business, is those same family-oriented people. And so when you articulate what that means for you, if that's a big goal for you, is not balance. So many people talk about, we got to have this work-life balance and got to do that. That's garbage. No, it's not balance. It's intentional imbalance. Okay. It's me planning with intention. And what I mean by that is, an example is the 80-20 rule. What is the 20% at home that brings you 80% of the joy? What's the 20% at work that gives you 80% of your effectiveness? And we get stuck at work all the time doing the redundant work, the operations, the administrative stuff that doesn't actually bring in revenue. That means you got to be cutting it out and doing the 20% you're effective and bringing in revenue for. So the same thing at home is, what is the 20% that's bringing you the most joy? Let's focus on those, okay? And so entrepreneurs, what do we need to do in that situation? We need to schedule our family time with the same priority that we do with our business. And just as of recent, I'll give you a good piece that worked for me, was the 90-day rule. Sometimes we're like, we need to take a vacation this year, and we never do it, or it gets delayed or whatever. Do the 90-day. One of my master classes that I'm in, my accountability coach all the way from Australia, shout out Trav, he was like, all right, mate, we're going to do a family trip, a kids trip, a family trip, a couples trip for you and your wife, and then a bro trip. And he's like, you got to have the family for sure. You and your wife got to have alone time and date, and then you got to have your boys time. That's critical. And it's not like a week on all of them. So you're saying taking 3 weeks off in the 90-day, but it's a day at least where you can schedule that intentional time with them is a really big. Okay, so schedule your family. Number 2, how do we fix it, is practical boundaries. We stop work at 5 p.m. We stop work at 4 p.m., at 6 p.m., whatever that is we got to have these boundaries. So digital boundaries, no work call emails after a certain time. Physical boundaries, no working in the same place that you relax. All right, this is a big one, a trigger method. If you're conditioned to working in one space, you don't want to condition yourself to working at home, watching TV with your spouse. Right? We don't want to do. You're just disengaged if that's happening all the time. Physical boundaries. And the last one, time blocking, scheduling family as an unmovable meeting. And I'll tell you, this is something I took from John Maxwell. He talked about in, I want to say it, 13 Invaluable Laws of Growth, was his wife, Margaret, was the only person with the authority to change the calendar at any time. And so that's what I gave to I decided right then I'm going to give that to my wife, Megan. She's the only one with veto power over my whole calendar. Now, she doesn't go abuse that at all, but she can stick date nights. She can stick babysitters or trips, or if we're invited on a trip or a fun time with some friends on a date night or something, she schedules it. She has that freedom to do it, or she can move meetings as she fit. Why is that important? Because it shows that she has priority over my work life and calendar above everybody else. And so that was critical. Okay, that's a big time. I'll give you an expert tip. If you're worried about doing that in your business, communicate this up front with your clients. We do this in the very first meeting, okay, is we want to be engaged, but my wife has authority to jump into the meeting and get me out if she needs to. And I got to tell you, if you're a big family person like we are, you don't want the people that want to bombard you over. Those aren't the type of clients that you want. So communicate it up front, set the expectation. That way people understand and they appreciate your willingness to stop everything for your family. Because really, if that's the kind of person you want, they would do the same thing for them, okay, for theirs. And then last, number 3 is set rituals that connect you to your family. And so this is the most practical, I think, for me, is daily do the first 10-minute rule. When you walk in, give your family your full attention. A lot of times we walk in still checking our phone, social, email, or on a call. Walk in. That's the first time they see you for the day. Give them the full attention in those 10 minutes. That's a big one. Do it weekly. Yet maybe you have a sacred time, a family dinner, a date night, a one-on-one with your kids. Sundays are always kind of our rest days, and I want to make sure to separate that for us. My wife is super heavy on being around for family time, even if it's just chicken nuggets. We got to sit around the table together. It's time where we can come together and pray and talk about our days, right? That's a big deal. And last one is monthly. You may have a 24-hour business detox day that you need to take and just go be with your family, period. But here's the big things. We don't want our families to go down the drain because we're so on fire for our business. Let's not do that. So the 3 quick, how do we fix this? Articulate what success means to you, practical boundaries, and then set those rituals with your family, okay? That's a big, because we don't need more time. We need better priorities. That's entrepreneurs. That's what we need. We are on fire for our business. We emotionally want to do that, but logically we need to be back home. No, set the priorities where they need to be. Family, then your business, okay? And this is what I want to start. I want to wrap up as a challenge to you guys is that 10-minute rule. The first thing you get to at home, take your phone, put it away, put your bag away in the office, wherever you're placing that thing. And when your kids are running up or your spouse is running up to give you a hug or give you a love, or maybe they're not, and you got to go find them, I'm going to challenge you to go hunt them down in the house and go find them and give them a big kiss. But set this stuff aside. So for the first 10 minutes of the day, you can give them your full attention and you can actually hear them out. And I guarantee you the energy and the spirit of your room will change, and you watch how that creeps into your life and ends up being a really effective thing. Guys, if this is stuff you like, content you like, please like, subscribe, share it. You can go onto the procapitaltx.com page. All the way down to the bottom, we want to send out a newsletter that you'll get every other week, send out this kind of content also, but we want to be an effective source for you, not just financially as advisors or wealth managers. We want to bring practically what you can be. You can be better as an entrepreneur and a family man or a family person as well too.